Hi, my name is Titi Winterfall, and I'm here with Shola for an amazing event. Today we're talking about creativity. I've learned so much so far. The event is still going on, and we're not done yet. But one thing I've learned are there are three main type of creativity, which Shola has explained to us. There's creativity of the hand, there's creativity of the heart, and there's creativity of the head. So today, a lot of people are sharing their journey and how they are creative. But one thing that is definitely sure and we're certain about is we are all creatives. We all have the capacity, we all have the ability to be creative. So who are you? What kind of creativity? What kind of creativity have you? Well, what category do you fall into? Are you someone who creates with your hand, someone who creates with your heart, or someone who creates with your head? So whichever it is, well done. I mean, there's still a lot to learn, and I'm still here to learn myself.
Today I'm with successful entrepreneur, author Akin Thomas at the Omoshola Fibrosim 2025 Unleash Your Creativity event.
Indeed.
And I had a couple questions I wanted to ask you.
No problem.
So, what does unleashing your creativity mean to you?
I fundamentally believe that God has given us all a creative spirit because it's in our DNA. And I think what happens is often that we are shackled into believing that creativity is this, when actually it's so much more.
Right.
And I think that for me today, what Omoshola has really done is help people to really understand that they all have creativity in them. It's just about one, acknowledging it, and two, activating it.
Absolutely.
So I think it's really about giving yourself permission to be that creative, which is often stifled, especially among certain communities, because they don't see creativity as being professional or things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, it's powerful. And what exactly would you say you're an author? So what gets you in a kind of creative mindset?
What gets me into a creative mindset? I think I'm a creative anyway. So I think for me, one of the things for me personally, I'm a maverick, so I don't like rules. I like breaking rules. I like to see what's possible. So one of the things that I do with my business is that I design games.
Okay.
Yeah, so I design games for adults to learn because what I try to do is combine playfulness with the power of conversation. So it's a very unique combination. So if you think about playing, it is the most natural form of learning there is. Yeah, and it has creativity, exploration, and discovery. They're very, very powerful. So I'm paid to create. I'm paid to support leaders to have spaces where they create. So actually it's within everything that I do.
Wow. They say that the grave is the richest place on earth, filled with untapped creativity,
Absolutely.
ideas which didn't come to fruition. What would you say gives you the confidence to unleash your creativity out into the world for everyone to see?
What gives you the confidence? I think...
Because it's quite vulnerable. It's quite a vulnerable thing to do.
I think one of the things you have to understand is this, your creativity is a gift to the world. Yeah? So if you don't unleash that creativity, you're denying the world. And when you're denying the world, you're denying potentially people from following you, from being released from certain situations. So I think when you recognize that this is a gift that's been given to you, you've got to say, well, how dare I just keep it to myself? And actually then, once you get to the point where you recognize that this is not about me, but this is about actually sharing my gift with others, then you're much more in a position where you can start to think, actually, I have an obligation to actually share my thoughts and my creativity with others.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Akin Thomas. Your creativity is a gift for the world. That's something I'm definitely going to be taking home.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you so much for answering.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm here with successful luxury fashion brand consultant Yolande Letshu at the 2025 Omoshola Fibrosim Unleash Your Creativity event. And I just had a couple questions for you, if you don't mind answering them.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what does unleash your creativity mean to you?
I think for me, unleashing my creativity means taking action on the things that are going to inspire me creatively, I guess. Instead of, I think a lot of people suppress, or I think there's creativity in everyone, but not everyone unleashes it and takes actions and goes for it. So when I think of unleashing your creativity, it is like taking that action.
Yeah, and funny enough, that actually leads to my next question. So there's a famous saying, the graveyard is the richest place on earth, filled with dreams, unfulfilled dreams, and untapped in creativity. So what gives you the confidence to not just be creative, but to put your creativity out there into the open?
I think a couple of things. I think one of the main things is like, I love that, saying about the graveyard, but I always think that, how do I want to be remembered? How do I want to, at the end of my time, can I look back and be like, you know what, I'd done everything and gave it my all? Or am I going to be like the people that died with their dreams? And I also think like life is about purpose. It's not just about you, it's about serving others, and making the impact. We're all born into this earth for a reason. And, it's about every day, like working towards that purpose. And I think for me, it's looking back and knowing that, I fulfilled my purpose. I'm content, I'm at peace. We're going to leave all the things, the luxury, but did you have an impact on this life?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
What gets you in a creative mindset?
I think in terms of a creative mindset, I think it's feeding my mind so for example, every day I listen to something motivational from someone that I might consider as a mentor, or just something interesting. It might be a podcast interview with someone that, I really respect. It could be anyone actually. And then it just sparks that creativity. I think consistently feeding your soul with positiveness. And because when you go out into the world, there's a lot going on and you get distracted. But if you started your morning right, you have that subconscious, thing at the back of your mind. Like, no, you are going to go through challenges, but no matter what, you're staying positive, you're staying creative. It's not even affecting you,
Speaking of podcasts, you actually mentioned that that's something you're looking to get into. So
yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, what's next for Yolande?
Yeah.
If you want to, where can we find you?
Yeah, no, definitely. So this summer I'm finally launching my podcast. It's called Fashion Brand Bible with Yolanda, and it's basically going to be delving and covering like real life stories of, people that have gone on the journey, become successful. But it's just to give people an insight that delayed, for example, isn't denied. It's about patience. These people, sometimes it looks like it happened overnight. But when you look into the stories of these brands, it actually took years. It's a process, And I think we live in a culture where, because of social media, whatever, people want quick results, instant results. So the podcast is kind of educating people and highlighting people that want to get into fashion, emerging brands, independent brands. They're the main audience for the podcast, and I'll be like interviewing top fashion buyers as well, just for them to, tell them, what are we looking for? Like, why might a brand get rejected? What are the reasons? Don't make those mistakes. So it's kind of another educational tool, but in a different format, because I think since becoming a mum, I listen to a lot more podcasts, because you just don't have that time, and there's a lot of busy people. They don't have the time. So I'm excited for the podcast. People can find me on Instagram at Yolanda Fashion UK, and my website is ymlfashion.co.uk. That's my consulting website. There's also fashionbrandbible.com, which is the brand I'm working on and building. That's all around education.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Yolande. Thank you very much for that interview.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you.
I am here with the successful life and executive coach, Vinion Ramos, at the 2025 Omoshola Fibrosima Unleash Your Creativity event. And I just wanted to ask you a couple questions.
Go for it.
What does unleashing your creativity mean to you?
At this point in time, I would say it's about letting out what has been deposited into you, as in finding out what you have been given to live out whilst you're on this side of eternity, which is on earth. So it's about letting it out of you, what you have been given as a natural
So your purpose.
gift. Yeah, I call it purpose. Purpose is a good word to say, yeah.
Okay, and what exactly gets you in a creative mindset?
I think nature does it for me more than ever now.
Okay.
Nature does it for me.
Okay.
That's I call it the law of being. That's my law of being. That's when I feel myself the most, when I'm in nature.
Yeah, that's great. Can you give an example of where you've had to be creative to overcome an obstacle or to, overcome an obstacle?
So when I said nature, what nature does is it helps me disconnect from the outside world to get into the inside world, internal world. And for me, I one of the things I advise my clients to do is to be mindfulness, and that's in the area of meditation. So when I walk in nature, I find myself more intuitive, more connected to the unseen realm than the seen realm. And what happens is that when I'm going through a challenge, that's when I go into nature, there's an ability to disconnect from the reality and tap into that internal power that gives me a different perspective to what is going on, and therein gives me a solution to navigate that situation. So when I think of creativity, I think of when the world was created. I'm a Christian, and that for me was that there was a situation and the God of the universe created something out of the situation, and that took him to see for what he wanted to see. He then spoke into it and it became. So when I'm in nature, I find myself able to shut my eyes, see what I want to create, what it should look like, and then I'm able to connect with that power within and then speak what I want into being. And I feel a release and like an unleashing from within me into this realm of reality. And eventually, what I just did in that time begins to overlay what is, and then there's a breakthrough. So it's the way I've done it. It's always, I love in nature or find some quietness and just be still. And in that stillness, creativity is unleashed for me.
Okay. And last question, they say that the graveyard is the richest place on earth.
Say that again?
They say the graveyard is the richest place on earth,
is.
filled with untapped creativity, dead ideas that never
materialized.
So what gives you the confidence to unleash your creativity out in the open for everyone to see?
I think for what I do, which is that's exactly what I help people do. I tell people that you are born into this world with unlimited potential, because again, as a Christian, you are spirit. You are not the container, but you are put into a container in this world, and life's experiences shape that container. But you are more than that container, because before you existed, and when you're done, you will be going back into that person that you are. So do not allow that container to limit. Whatever you've been through in life does not limit you. So the point is, how are you able to connect to your essence, which is your spirit being, beyond your container? The container might have been trashed, messed up, destroyed, whatever. But how do you disconnect from the container? Which is why I was kept saying to you that whatever you're going through, I've found a way to disconnect from reality and go into the spirit, which is the reality, the who I am. Many people have died because they did not overcome the container. There was a restraint. I call it the bottle. I use a bottle metaphor. And that means that you're born into a container, but that container doesn't determine who you are. How do you find yourself out of the bottle to live that unlimited potential? And everybody can. And that's what I live to do, to show people how to live outside of that container, because that doesn't define you. You are more than that container. So anybody who dies with it, they didn't get a chance to live out of the container. But my mission is to make sure that you live out of that container.
I am here with successful musician and creative Coco Brown at the 2025 Omoshola Favorite Simba Unleash Your Creativity event. I just wanted to ask you a couple questions, so let's get started. What does unleashing your creativity mean to you?
It's all about the creative understanding that they are creative in the first place, and then understanding how they bring that to the world.
Right, okay. And can you give an example of in your career where you've been creative?
Oh yeah, right. So I'm a musician.
Right.
I always thought I was going to be a background singer, but found that my voice was a little bit more distinctive than a background singer should have, and so therefore I got pushed to the front. And then I found that I wanted the independence of actually playing for myself, so I learnt guitar, and then I taught myself guitar because that was my creative outlet.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely creative. What gets you in a creative mindset then? When whether it's writing or whatever it is, what gets you in that mindset to unleash your ideas?
Well, I think it starts with the journaling and my thoughts on paper. Quite often I find that thoughts on paper that I think are a journal are actually the starts of lyrics.
Okay.
So the lyrics come from that because that's what's been on my mind. And so the lyrics come out of that and then that gets transferred to music.
Okay, wow. Can you give an example? No, okay, sorry. The graveyard is said to be the richest place, full of untapped creativity and ideas.
Yes.
So what would you say gives you the confidence to unleash that creativity, unleash those ideas that you have out into the open for everyone to see?
I think I don't really have any choice. It comes out of me no matter what.
Okay, so you're just a naturally confident person.
It's just who I am,
Yeah.
you know, and I've just learnt to be myself in
Absolutely.
all my, you know, uniqueness and my, foibles and things like that. So I think it starts there, but I think I also realise that the impact it sometimes has on someone keeps you going. So I may have written a song that may be personal to me or something I've seen, and then you see the reaction with an audience member. It just takes one person to come up and talk to you and just go, that really impacted me, I really needed that. So, yeah.
Powerful words. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Coco Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
the
so
interview.
much for having me. Thanks.